Hello, and welcome back to the Arclight podcast. This is episode 7 after a brief little break last week. I'm joined once again by the same troop. I got Eric,
Ayo.
Pat,
What's up?
and unfortunately Jim Bob.
Hello. Sorry.
No, but seriously.
And who the fuck are you again?
Don't worry about it, but they do call me Cameron in some places.
Okay.
On this plane, anyway.
Okay.
In the hater realm, I have another name.
We're in a plane? Let's go on a casual talk.
We're currently flying miles high. We're in the Mile High Club on a plane. Where is this plane going, Jim Bob? Where are you taking us?
Uganda.
Uganda?
Uganda? Of all places, Uganda.
Why are we? You know what? I don't want to know.
Cameron, just
don't-
come on.
you
What are
don't
we talking
wanna
about?
know.
Alright,
today?
so today on the Arclight podcast, not much news has happened, so we kind of have a little bit of a loosey-goosey episode here. We got a breakdown on Ubisoft and all their shady business deals they got going on and all their games that get leaked, and then we got a topic on, with them, the game preservation. Just, what does it mean to own a digital game, and why are physical games still, important? And then Jim Bob's big topic that he was very passionate about bringing to the table is validating pre-orders, and that's for the end.
Well, I'm not validating them, but we'll get to
No,
that.
what?
Jim Bob was against
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. But anyway, as always, just after the intro, we like to go into the casual talk, the casual bullage, as they might say. And we're here to just talk about what we've been up to, especially since we have a little bit of a break. So I'm going to throw it to Jim Bob.
So, in the past 2 weeks, like on the last podcast we had talked about, I started playing some Final Fantasy XIV. Just started grinding it myself. I think I finally got to the part where the dungeons are going to start soon. So that'll be fun to actually play with the boys.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But as I was getting into that, Amazon Day happened, and bought myself some new specs for a PC. And since building it, I've been playing a lot of Tarkov because I can actually run it, and that's been super fun personally.
I remember when we would play Tarkov before, and you just pick, all right, I'm crashing.
I'm lagging
I'm,
out.
I'm lagging out. Just mid-firefight, I'm lagging out.
At the beginning of
My
raids.
computer's dying mid-fight.
It was very. I dropped the game until I got this computer, so it's been really fun playing it
Why
again.
don't you tell the gamers what that GPU is you got going on?
So I got it on sale a little bit, the 3070 Ti.
Sheesh.
Feeling pretty good.
Well,
Smelling pretty good.
I mean, honestly,
Oh, yeah.
I even went and looked. How much did you buy yours for?
It was like 670 or something.
That's crazy because it's even. I looked up just. I don't know if I was looking up the right thing, but I typed in 3070 Ti on Amazon and I was seeing it for like around $500.
No, it's 77. It's 770 right now.
Is it? I saw 500.
You might have been looking at a lower grade because different companies make
I
different.
don't know, but
the
either
same
way,
graphic card
I
models.
Yeah.
guarantee you it's gonna keep going down.
We'll see.
It's gonna go back down, but it's expected to spike back up again here soon. So it's one
Why?
where,
No,
like, do
but
it now while you
the
can.
the market's crashed for Bitcoin.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, now that everybody that actually wants these graphic cards for what they're supposed to be used for can get them, people are going to be buying them up as they start dropping to the point where they're going to jump back up in price again soon because of that.
Why can't
Oh,
they
yeah.
just be a set price? Why do they have to fluctuate like
Supply
that?
and demand.
It's truly supply and demand, yeah, especially with the chip
Basic
shortage that
economics.
happened and everything.
Well, yeah,
It's-
but like, it's just so weird. They're basically just stocks. Like,
Yeah.
it's so whack.
Let's see here. 3070 Ti. What's your brand?
GeForce.
Oh, that's probably why too, because GeForce is probably the best one you're
Yeah.
going to get right now.
See, I'm looking it
telling you
up.
it's gonna be
I'm looking it up
770.
on. I'm looking it up on Amazon. 750. There's
It's
one for
on sale for a little
700,
bit for 700.
754,
And I got it.
720,
I got it in the
684,
600.
780. So yeah, you could probably get a pretty decent one for
Yeah.
high 600s.
And like the top of the line, I think is 3090 right now, and those are going for like almost $2,000.
Yeah, those are crazy.
Jesus Christ.
Crazy dummy high.
Do you even notice that much of a difference?
Oh yeah.
There's a huge
Oh.
difference.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have the correct monitors and stuff too, yeah, you have to kind
Yeah.
of like have the full setup to notice. But yeah,
I mean, as long as you have a modern
Well, like,
monitor.
are you dealing? Is it just like frames at that point, or is it like
no?
fidelity?
The graphics
It's-
just look better.
Yeah, it's not only
Yeah.
frames, it's also like the graphics
The
as
rendering.
well as the rendering, and you can actually just like I couldn't even like play Tarkov before because it was so high intense on the computer.
Like, for example, my computer, I have like a, I don't know, like a 1060, I think I said, or something like that. A
Mhm.
lower, like a mid 10 or whatever, and I can run Hunt Showdown on high. Like I can run it on high, and
Yeah.
the game have good frames, but the game is ugly. Like it doesn't even look good on, like games don't look good on high on my computer.
Right.
Modern day games, and it's because my GPU is so old.
Yeah.
So like going up to like the 3070, when you run a game on high, it looks like a game running on high or ultra or something like that. Like you're getting the full graphic potential out of the game.
Right.
The only issue I've had with it is I have a 3 monitor setup, and one of them is one on those old cables where you screw it in,
Yeah.
and there's no port for that on the 3070.
Oh no!
So-
What am I gonna do without my
no,
third
my
monitor?
third
Oh
monitor.
my
It's just-
gosh!
It's just convenient. It's like getting a second.
What
monitor.
is the setup? Why I don't
So I got the main.
walk me through 3 monitors.
I got the main big.
The main. That's what you game
144
on.
hertz monitor in the middle.
Yes.
I got the tall monitor on the left.
Yes.
I was gonna put it above the main monitor, but I didn't have the long enough stand. And then I have the small shitty monitor on the right.
And what is on those monitors?
On the left one, it's usually Discord, and then something else. And then on the right, I've usually got a video playing, some Twitch, something like that.
I don't understand.
Multitasking.
I don't-
Let's move on.
See, that's
to
not-
Pat's casual.
Hold on. No, see, earlier you asked, "What is peak gaming?" That sounds like
That's
peak,
peak gaming.
peak gaming with lots of not peak gaming, like distractions, in my opinion.
I mean,
yeah,
that's
but
one
we-
reason I have a
you know-
second monitors for Discord on the side.
Yeah, I see.
Yes, I do.
I don't know. First of all, I'm not really active in Discord, so I wouldn't need one for Discord. I just don't see the need of a second monitor.
It's a thing of where
You
it's
say
so
that, but once you
convenient.
have a second
Yes,
monitor,
The
Yeah,
only
it changes
the only
game.
way I can see myself getting used to have a second monitor is when I'm doing like DM prep and having multiple tabs open at once and not having to split a screen down between 2 tabs, and I can just drag 2 windows on 2 separate monitors.
Yeah.
That would be the only way I see myself using that. For one, for like the word processor, for if I'm typing a document, and the other one having whatever information I'm trying to transcribe over or something like that, is the only way I can see that ever working out in my favor. But to each their own. I like Bull and Jimbo for it though.
It'd be like that.
That's fair.
Pat, like Jimbo said.
Yeah. So I've been gaming on a couple things.
Still the wandering gamer.
The Wandering Gamer. I'm trying to hone it in a little better.
Vagabond.
I just beat the Uncharted spin-off game, Lost Legacy, I think it's called. That game is alright. It was like a short 5-hour burn. It's a typical Uncharted game. It was alright, but I've also been playing Stray, which just came out, I think Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's the game where you play as a cat. That's a pretty chill game. It's also it's like an adventure, kind of puzzle so far at least. I'm only a half hour in, but it's cool. And then just Final Fantasy, trying to finish this post game so me and Cameron can get into the next expansion. And yeah, that's pretty much it right now. Nothing too crazy, but just trying to get some gaming in.
You been watching any TV shows?
Yeah, I finished The Boys. Finally caught up. I don't know what I'm gonna watch next. I need to watch Ms. Marvel. Well, I should probably watch Ms. Marvel so I don't miss out on continuity. But I hear it's not really that good. So
I think it
I don't
ended
know if I
strong.
wanna.
It ended really strong.
But in reality, you could probably only watch the last 2 episodes and know everything you need to know about Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Like realistically,
Yeah.
but MCU show, so they got you by the balls.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I might watch Castlevania. Restart it because I had started a while ago. I got to
It's good.
season 3, and then it was kind of slow in the beginning, and I kind of dropped it. I might go back and restart it. But yeah, nothing too eventful. I'm gonna throw it to Eric now.
Okay, yeah. So my past 2 weeks have definitely been a little bit more eventful than I would have liked. Since recording the last episode of the podcast, episode 6, literally a day or two after, I ended up testing positive for COVID, and I was out of commission for like a week, which is why we didn't have an episode last weekend. Me and Pat were supposed to record with some guests. That didn't end up working out just because I was still in the recovery process, and of course, just for safety reasons, it was probably just better nobody got together to do so. I even went as far as trying to get my roommate, our good friend Zach, to help us record an episode like last minute on Sunday, and I just couldn't stop coughing for the life of me. So, COVID's nasty, don't get it. Find a way to not get that. As far as actual gaming, though, I have been playing a little bit more of Klonoa. I'm still stuck on the last boss of Klonoa 1. Live Alive just came out yesterday, and I just started that. I can already, within a couple hours of playing the game, can already see why it's so beloved and praised already, and I'm not even close to like any of the really cool stuff yet. So I'm definitely in the long haul for that. I'll probably binge a good portion of it over the weekend and throughout the rest of this week. A little on and off on Final Fantasy here and there. I helped Jim Bob with his initial start, his day one. I would like the day I found out I had COVID and was absolutely knocked out. I got on for like a half hour with him just to be like, here's what you gotta do at the beginning, let's walk you through this.
Jim Bob will not tell me his character name or the character race he picked.
You'll have to see it, yeah.
And my worry is that he picked one of the Munchkin people.
You'll have to wait and see.
You'll have to wait and see. Eric was just like, I see.
Not exactly in a bad way. I didn't expect it off the top of my head. So I was like, huh, okay. And then outside of that, I was one of the people that decided to sit down on a stream for about an hour or so. Thanks, shout out to Maximilian Dude. I sat on his day one stream of the Multiverses beta. And Twitch, for those who didn't know, Twitch is running a Twitch drop for that, where if you watch someone who has access to the closed beta this week, if you watch them for an hour and you have your WB Games account linked to your Twitch, you got a drop to get into the early closed beta. It's only like a week early, though, because it's literally going to be free to play this upcoming Tuesday, the 26th. Dropping with LeBron James.
On a Tuesday!
LeBron.
And I will say, even though I bought Live Alive yesterday, I have a ton of other games I'm playing.
Welcome to my life.
I literally played Live Alive for like an hour or two, like I said yesterday, and then I hopped right on Multiverses. Multiverses has been, so far within the past week of me playing since I got into the beta, like Monday, Tuesday-ish, I have absolutely been loving the game. It has been a lot of fun. Everybody here at the table got to sit down. We've all played a little bit of 1v1s local, just because I don't have enough PlayStation 5 controllers to support a full-on 4-player game at the moment. But, I'm actually really digging this game. I'm excited to see who else they start adding here in the future, and where this game's really going to go in its lifetime. Like, is it going to succeed or not? I definitely think it will right now. It's got a very strong start. But Multiverse is going to be really dope, I think. Definitely check it out when it goes fully free to play next week. My only downside is unlocking the characters for online play is a bit of a gold grind. You got to really play actively to get enough gold to unlock the characters. But if you're one of those people who just wants to play it with friends at home on the couch, every single character is unlocked for the local play. It's just for the online play. You got to unlock your characters. Any comments on anybody from here who has actually sat down today?
Multiverses. It's good. That's the review.
It's
it's fun.
I couldn't wrap my head around the controls really, but that's just me. I'm not very good at fighting games personally. So.
I was trying to find a character, and I played Iron Giant. He was alright. He's way too slow for me though.
I think I'm gonna be maining Batman.
Wonder Woman is pretty fun to play. I just played her for the first time.
Then I guess to finish the trio here, I actually currently main Superman.
I think my biggest gripe with the game is I think once I play it on my own and get my own controls figured out, I think I'll be enjoying it more, because I found myself like mid-match just being like, what is this control layout? Like, it's so,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like someone like it was like I was using the stick to attack, but also the buttons, and I was like, I need to get this fixed to something I might like more personally.
The generic setup is a little whack.
The layout is just like, I think it's just what we talked about earlier when I had first got here. We were all talking about the game, is I only play games like that on one controller, the GameCube controller.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to play it on the DualSense. I'm trying to activate all my senses to wrap my head around it. So, yeah, but I think the game looks nice graphically. Presentation's really good.
All the voice dialogue.
All
is
the
super
voice
neat.
dialogue. I'm really excited to see where this roster goes. I think they got a pretty solid lineup right now. And I guarantee you, after LeBron, they've already announced Rick and Morty, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be even more surprise characters. I'm sure they have a couple characters in the pipeline ready to go this year.
Tony Soprano.
Please.
I'm surprised they haven't announced Gandalf yet because everything is pointing to some type of Lord of the Rings drop.
Well, they already
so.
When they initially announced the game, it was already basically revealed that Gandalf will be in the game. I'm surprised
There's
he hasn't
voice
shown
lines.
up yet.
There's voice lines for Finn talking to Gandalf.
Yeah, I'm very shocked he hasn't just shown up yet. He might be one of the next few drops. They might be saving him for the show
for the
drop.
show in September. Yeah, even though Gandalf isn't around during that time, but still cool little tie-in. Well, there's also a theory that Sauron's going to be in the game too as one of the villain characters, so that'd be really sick.
That'd be interesting to see for sure. Yeah.
But anyway, Multiverse is pretty chill.
Yeah, I definitely have been really enjoying it. Highly recommend it, especially since it will be free to play.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the free to play and really getting some 2v2s and whatever. Is there 4v4?
There is the highest it goes up to is 4-player free for all. So
I see.
yeah, gaming this week was, or I guess the past 2 weeks, outside of me doing a little bit of COVID gaming, it was pretty solid.
Real life gaming, real life survival simulator.
Yeah, it was. Luckily, it wasn't as rough as I thought it was going to be, but it still sucked. But yeah, so I think with that, Cameron,
We never asked Cameron
Yeah,
what he's
yeah.
been doing.
What have I been up to? Let me think.
Nothing.
Nothing. Well, let's see. Gaming wise, what have I been gaming on? I've been doing. I took a kind of like with all this. We'll get into it with the Ubisoft thing, but there's been a lot of Assassin's Creed leaking, and even though I'm not a big fan of where the franchise is at right now, with its RPG kind of spin, and the stories they're trying to tell with the franchise, I'm not really a big fan of. I love the first batch of those games, so like AC1, 2, Brotherhood Revelations. 4 is good. I just don't think it's a good Assassin's Creed game. And 3 and to some extent Unity and Rogue. Those are all the games I actually like. So pretty much a good foundation of what the legacy Assassin's Creed titles at this point. I've dipped my toe into playing the remastered version of those games. So AC3 Remastered came out a couple years ago, and that can have an FPS boost on the Series X. So getting to play that at 60 frames is really nice. And then also Assassin's Creed Unity also has both of them have HDR, but Unity has auto HDR and an FPS boost from the Series X, proving again, if you're going to be playing an older title, if you have the chance to play it on the Series X, I would do that over the PS5 because there's a chance they can boost your FPS and give you auto HDR, so the game looks better on those old titles. So yeah, I've just been playing some older Assassin's Creeds, kind of taking a trip down memory lane on that. Final Fantasy 14 as always. And then and a not video game related topic, just playing D&D.
D&D is gaming.
Yeah, just
Yep.
tabletop gaming.
It's
That's
fun.
probably my second biggest hobby.
I actually have to admit, I
Might be overtaking and become my main hobby now.
Yeah, I don't know what it's been recently, but I've been in a weird mental kick where I'm I'd be interested in playing D&D again after years of being I just
D&D is
can't do
fun.
it. I think I might be interested in trying again at some point.
You might be interested in what my next big thing I'm planning is. So I don't even know what Spelljammer is. I think you might be interested in Spelljammer. It's this campaign thing coming out where it's going to be pretty much everyone is take the concept of D&D but put it in space.
Okay.
So you're on these ships called Spelljammers that can sail the astral sea
Okay.
and this area. So say you're on the material plane and you look at the stars. What you're technically seeing is what they call wild space.
Mm-hmm.
So there is the space of this plane. On the edges of that is the astral sea.
Right.
and the Spelljammer is adventures that take place within the wild space and the astral sea. So it's pretty much like a space D&D,
Okay.
but with this like crazy, like obviously D&D twist on it. Like one of the new playable races is going to be a plasmoid,
Yeah.
which is pretty much just a
Energy being.
a cube, a gelatinous being as a playable race, which Jim Bob said he's already going to be looking into.
I'm in.
They're adding a playable race of intelligent hippos called the Griff.
Hell yeah.
Flying monkeys are a playable race now.
Okay, wait, that might
Heyo.
be the one right
Yeah,
there.
and then there's also going to be a new type of elf called the astral elves, which are these elves that have eventually got out into the stars and lived in the astral realm for so long. Because in the astral realm, you don't age
Okay.
at all, like at all. So these guys are like they're super old, and they have this massive like imperialistic empire that they just want to take over planets and planes.
Ah, okay.
So, and it's also heavy. I think you might like it because a heavy vibe is Treasure Planet, pretty much.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
there's like giant, like the ships, like the Spelljammers have so many designs, and like people have like big Treasure Planet style pirate ships that just go through space and stuff like that. And I plan on running that campaign as like a hyper like 80s action movie, like synthwave music vibe is kind of like what I'm looking
I
to
will
hop in on
say
that.
already I'm in.
Yeah, so I'm waiting. That book comes out in August sometime. So once I get my hands on that, I'll start looking into what I want to do with that. But that's kind of like a, crash course on Spelljammer. And also a big part of Spelljammer is going to other planes. So, you could be like, I want to fly from Faerun to Exandria, which is where Critical Role takes place. And you could just, whoop, 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 just take your Spelljammer and go there.
Okay.
So, many things can happen in that setting. But, yeah, that's kind of what that is. So there's a little D&D tangent. But, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no.
Sick.
That sounds sick. Any last comments before we start getting into our topics today, boys?
Gaming is gaming.
Is gaming.
Not much gaming. There you go.
Okay, well, yep. Sounds
You
good
heard
to
it
me.
Gaming.
Gaming.
Okay, so to get this started off today, like we said in the opening here, we're going to be talking a little bit about Ubisoft today. And by a little bit, I mean, there's a lot to cover on Ubisoft, especially within the past couple of years and even the past, couple weeks. There's been a lot going on with them. In particular, we got some news of some game delays, some, I think, cancellations. I don't know if those go hand in hand. Some leaks.
Yeah.
All that good stuff. So, Cameron, I think you're probably the most knowledgeable on most of this stuff at the moment.
So in terms of, I guess we'll start with the leaks. So basically, since I was just talking about it, if anyone ever follows the Assassin's Creed franchise, they know that this stuff gets leaked. Like the Assassin's Creed's always get leaked. Like, I mean, dating back since at least I know AC4 is the one I followed the most. But and a surprise to no one, they've been leaked again. And right now there's two to three leaked games in development right now. So there is Assassin's Creed Red, which is rumored to be finally a Japan style Assassin's Creed game that is rumored to be part of the live service game Assassin's Creed Infinity. And for people that don't know, Assassin's Creed Infinity is rumored to be this live service style game that has multiple different settings and multiple different characters to be like the next mainline entry into the franchise. So I'm expecting probably bite-sized bit of content in these settings. And then the final one is Assassin's Creed Rift, which is reportedly going to be one set in Baghdad about one of the assassins that was introduced in Valhalla. And then another one that is not so leaked but heavily rumored is Assassin's Creed 1 Remake that they're going to announce in September for the 15-year anniversary. So there's a lot of stuff for Assassin's Creed. That franchise has always sold well for them. Yeah.
I feel like they leak this stuff on purpose now. Like they've leaked so many times it feels like it's being done on purpose. Just to kind of get like feelers from people out, like fans out there, to see if the people would like the game.
That's totally true because this ties into the delays. So one of these titles is reportedly the smaller premium game, and that got delayed alongside the Avatar game. So yeah, if anyone doesn't know, Ubisoft was the guys behind The Division are making an Avatar game, presumably the tie into Avatar 2 coming out in December. But now the game will be coming out till early 2023.
Oof.
So, just like the movie, the game also gets delayed.
Yeah, I mean, once again, like I think we discussed earlier, kind of saw that coming considering we haven't seen a single inch of gameplay yet. Oh, yeah. And we're getting into the second half of the year now, so.
And then just after that announcement for the delay, some insiders said that apparently the game is very, very beautiful, but the gameplay is very rough. So that's why they delayed it. So, we'll see. But, I mean, I think Pandora is a cool setting for a game. It's apparently going to be in first person, so we'll see how that goes. And Massive is a pretty okay studio. So I have, not high hopes, but I think that hopefully I want to see him succeed.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, either way, Jim Rob will be playing because it's a single player open world game, no interest.
Avatar, I'm alright.
I was about to say I actually never really enjoyed the original Avatar movie. I think it was definitely a visual spectacle, but it was too long and not enough going on in that too long for me. But I will admit, even the initial trailer for this game, I was like, I might be in. This looks kind of neat.
I'm a Avatar franchise enjoyer.
Franchise isn't the single movie.
Well, yeah. Yep. I mean, correct. You're right. I'm not gonna say you're wrong. But yeah, I like the first movie. I mean, I understand everyone's complaints of it being, overly generic plot, blah 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 blah. My argument to that is, I mean, look at the stuff we're going to watch right now. It's the plot is no more bare bones and generic than a normal MCU movie. So
it's true.
Yeah,
it's not much of a difference. For one, the Avatar CGI looks way better than whatever the hell Marvel's putting out. So
well, they are putting like 8 years into it. So I mean, I hope so.
Yeah, and it still looks good now. I'm talking about Avatar 1 looks better than the majority of MCU CGI.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, but Marvel's just pumping that shit out to pump it out.
Pumping it out so hard, there's now reports that they're pumping it out too hard, and CGIers are actively not taking deals with them because of too much work, too much stress. Good. Fuck them. Start shooting practical like the Eternals.
Yep.
Yeet.
We'll get more into that probably later if we have time to talk about the Hall H stuff, which we might. We'll see. It's not on the board, but
about to say
it's not on the board, but so we get time to it, we'll talk about it. But I know one thing Eric is very passionate about is their shady deals. So
yeah, I'll go into depth on this one a little bit just because I've been following this sadly since 2011, 2012, whenever the Scott Pilgrim game got delisted originally off of the 360 and PS3 store. Within the past 2 weeks, this was actually going to be talked about on last weekend's episode, but once again, due to issues, just didn't happen. I wanted to strike while the iron was hot. Now it feels like it's fizzled out a little bit, sadly, but I still am very passionate to bring this up right now, especially as I've been learning a lot more about digital games and how they work, how emulation and stuff works. But yeah, so once again, Ubisoft back in 2011, 2012, maybe 2013 at the latest. I don't remember the exact year they took it down. But they had the Scott Pilgrim game out for a couple years, and then it just disappeared off both those eShops. There was no way to re-download them. Luckily, if you still had them on your console, you could still play them, but you could have, if you ever even deleted it or lost your data or something, it was gone. You couldn't re-download it. I still actually have my 360 solely because I have the original copy for the 360 with all the DLC on there. I mean, now they did re-release the game 10 years later after massive calls for it to happen from the community. So the game is available again in digital, and they even did a limited physical run, which I did buy a physical copy because I was not going to have it happen twice to me. It's one of my favorite games from one of my favorite media franchises. Scott Pilgrim is dope, whether it be the movie, the game, or the books. But But yeah, so recently, what has happened is someone noticed on Twitter a couple weeks ago that what was it? Assassin's Creed Liberation HD was getting taken down from Steam. There's a little notice underneath where you would normally be able to buy it. It says, after September 1st, this game will no longer be available on Steam. You will not be able to purchase this game, re-download it, and there was even something that stated that the Steam launcher won't even be able to launch the game if you still have it. Which is the worst part of that. At the very least, with the Scott Pilgrim game, as long as you still had it, you could still launch it and play it. But it seemed like that wasn't the only game Ubisoft was planning to do that to. They had a couple other legacy style games, like older games, that they looked like they were taken off of Steam to the point where it's like, hey, this game you spent money on, you don't own it anymore. It's not here. You can't use it here anymore. Which is a big deal because, you buy a game thinking, hey, I'll have it forever. I can pop it in, or in the sake of digital games, I can just re-download it, load it up whenever I want, and play it, which for the most part is true. Most companies do just leave their games up. Outside of course, older consoles, like Nintendo's notorious for it with like the Wii Shop or the Nintendo DS, 3DS store is about to go out of function here soon. But normally those are like expected. They've been around for years. They leave them up way past the lifetime of the console itself very generously. PlayStation still has the PlayStation 3 store going. Granted, it's a little wonky, but it still works. You can still buy stuff off of it. But straight up telling gamers that a game that you have purchased, you will no longer be able to access at all. Like, you can't re-download it. You can't even start it up through Steam. It's just gone. So when the backlash started on Twitter, Ubisoft stated, hey, don't worry, there will be another way. We do have ways to preserve these games to where you'll be able to play them. Which calmed people down a little bit. They were like, okay, I guess. But I mean, I still spent money on these games. But as long as there's still another way to play them, maybe I'll be okay. Until about a couple days after that, where PlayStation made an announcement that as part of their like new PlayStation tiers and stuff, they're going to have a thing for Ubisoft Plus, which is like a way to stream all of these older legacy Ubisoft titles, like the old Assassin's Creeds and stuff. Two problems with that. One, if you don't have a PlayStation, you aren't going to be able to access these games. And once again, these games will be taken off of Steam. For why? At that point, like, it's not like it's the same thing. Like, if you're a PC gamer and you don't have a PlayStation, you can't play these games, so it still hurt you. And two, PlayStation streaming is awful. Absolutely garbage. So those are two huge issues right there, and the backlash apparently got so bad that Ubisoft, from what I understand, has backed up on this decision. The Steam games will stay now. But the issue here is, once again, this is the second time Ubisoft has taken games off of a platform, or were at least planning to. And yeah, they backstepped it this time, but they've already shown they're willing to do it multiple times throughout the years. They're going to do it again at some point, and to some extent, that just also shows that any other company could go out and do this at any time they want. These games could just disappear one day, and we can't do anything about it because there's laws and regulations in place where you can't even get like an ISO off the internet to emulate the game yourself. Even to that point, there's no way for companies to keep these servers indefinitely running forever to be able to access these older games on different shops and such, because it costs money over the years.
Didn't PlayStation also just try to take down the PS Store a couple months back?
People were pissed.
People were upset, and that's why the PlayStation 3 store still exists now. Granted, it's a little wonky because they had to implement some new features to a very old system to make it still worth using, but it still works. It's still there. It's not perfect because there was some physical only releases, surprisingly, for the PS3, so there's some games you'll never be able to download on a PS3 that used to exist. So that's another problem still, once again, is like, sadly, from the beginning, we've kind of known it from the beginning with digital games. A lot of digital game stores list in their like terms and conditions that you own a license to play this digital game. You don't own this game. So that's the issue is, hey, you bought a license. well, I guess the license expires at some point, I guess, because they can just take games whenever they want willy-nilly. And that's why, even in 2022, where we are in the heavy digital era, like everything is going digital, it still warrants a talk about maybe physical games still have a place here. I personally like to buy physical games myself when any chance I get for a game I really know I'm going to enjoy or I already have enjoyed. I try to go back and pick up a physical copy. Also with like anime and stuff, I do that as well. If I like a series enough, I'll buy the physical copy so I can just have it on a shelf, pick it up and watch it whenever I want, or tell a friend they can borrow it. So it's like with those games, with games and media being physical, it's the only way to guarantee for sure the company's not just going to bash in your door, walk in, and steal that game from you. Like they can't do that.
That's what they would do for Jim Bob the game.
Oh, absolutely.
That is what I would do.
It would have to be recalled at some point, probably.
You're only allowed to own Jim Bob the game for 10 dog years.
Christ. But yeah, so that's kind of the big topic I really want to discuss with that big Ubisoft news that just recently happened. Once again, good on them for backpedaling right now, but it still sets a precedent that they will probably come back and do it again at some point.
See, if anyone does that again, we'll just, have the masses get in their DMs and start sending lewd photos again.
Yes,
so
we know that gets the job done.
Yeah, apparently, because it just like literally after the weekend we talked about that, they showed off God of War Ragnarok.
They got them.
So that's my plan.
That was your plan, regardless.
Because being a PC gamer, I don't have the option of physical gaming.
Yeah, they screwed you guys over like years ago on that.
That is my one and only plan that I can do, personally.
Yeah, so it kind of sucks because I remember I used to always get physical PC games when I was younger too.
Same.
Like I still have a physical copy of Guild Wars 2, which is a completely digital game at this point.
Guild Wars 2,
Diablo
Diablo 2,
like the
Warcraft
3. The Warcraft 3 battle chest.
Yeah.
Where it had Warcraft 3 and then the expansion and then like a 60-day free trial for WoW.
Yeah, so sadly this has already happened to PC gamers where they don't even have the option anymore. Your games are digital, and so if they ever just disappear one day, that you're screwed. You don't have them anymore.
Yeah, if Steam is ever gone, it'd be like that, I guess.
Yeah, the only way that you could ever hope to play that game again is if somebody decided to download all the separate files and like a custom launcher for that game onto a different hard drive somewhere, and then you could upload it to like some sketchy website and re-download it and play it through a custom launcher. That'd be the only way you could really do that if those games ever disappeared. That's how a lot of like older games still exist in the PC realm at this point, is people still have the physical copies and they'll upload them to some sort of website and you can download it from there and run it off of like a weird launcher that is compatible that makes it think it's like Windows like 95 or something.
It's probably going to give you malware, so...
Yeah, probably, but I mean...
It'd be like that.
Sadly, those are your only options right now as a PC gamer. But right now with console games, we still do kind of have a place for physical games at the moment. They're not completely gone. They're definitely starting to phase them out, sadly, which is a huge concern with stuff like this, where it's, once again, if these eShops and stuff disappear, where are we getting these games if the physical games are gone?
I don't. Let me cut you off. But I don't think we're ever going to see a time where Steam is just gone.
Oh, probably.
No. That was just an example.
Yeah. So I don't think we have to worry about that.
Yeah, they have money
And
machines.
I think the reality is also that a lot of the companies, like even though they're trying to do that, I think, like we hear about it like maybe like once a year, someone's trying to do some scummy shit like this, and it ultimately never goes through. So I mean, I don't really see a reality where it's going to be like a huge issue. I think the real issue is what you were saying just now, Eric, about things are just progressively going more digital.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can see that just by looking at the current console generation. Like the fact that we have 2 consoles that don't even have disk drives.
Right, yeah. Like now they're optional disk drives. Yeah,
yeah,
you get
like
the console with or without it.
Yeah, and there's a price difference between the two. So, and then it gets into like this gets into a little bit of a side argument. Like, okay, so Sony is charging me $70 for a license for a game.
Yeah, just a license, by the way.
Yeah, like that I might hypothetically maybe could not own in 40 years.
Yeah.
20 years.
Because
whatever.
the eShop doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You can't ever go back and re-download it if you pull out your old PlayStation 5 in like 40 years. Wow, that's already weird to think about saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's just really like the only time I could see it happening. But still, it brings up the argument. It brings up the whole argument about our games worth $70, which is a whole another deal. So
Right, but like, so I think the biggest topic to talk about with this here is how would you go about preserving, especially if physical games obviously aren't a big deal to people anymore as much as they used to be. How do we preserve games that like say something like the Wii Shop, which is barely even functioning at this point in time. There's a lot of exclusive games to the Wii that you could only download only, and some of those games, like in the next couple of years, probably will not exist anymore. But that's a shame because some of those games were really good. Like, how do you go about preserving these games? I initially pitched at some point, like, it's definitely not the correct answer, but it's a step in the right direction currently. And not praising Nintendo for what they're currently doing because it's still stupid. It doesn't work half the time. But, like, these subscription services where you have access to older games like the N64 one, the Sega Genesis one that Nintendo's running right now, the Super Nintendo, the NES. Like, those are cool ideas, and it's a step in the right direction, I think, but it are being implemented incorrectly at the moment. I think instead of adding games every month, you should just try to get as many of them as you can possible right before you even launch it. You drop, like, this huge library of games for this console that you could play at any time, download it off of their servers. Not stream it, because once again, game streaming is still kind of awful at this point. It's not great right now. Maybe in a few years, maybe, but, like, it still doesn't affect the fact that you don't own the games. That's still a problem. You never will own those games, but something like that would probably keep these games alive a lot longer. Like, the fact we're able to go back and play old NES games at the moment through the Nintendo Switch service is, well, kind of more of a novelty, because those games were barely games. It's still neat. It's still a neat thought to think you can go back and play a game from way back when, just because you are feeling nostalgic for a day or two, you know?
I think my answer is, I don't know how, I can't even begin to fathom how to implement any of it, but it would be, my answer is just emulation. I feel like consoles just need to be able to emulate older everything. Everything needs to be able to run. I'm not even talking about streaming.
Yeah.
There's no reason for why games shouldn't be able just to be emulated.
Yeah, and I think I pitched that a little bit earlier before we started the podcast, too, when we kind of brought up this topic a little bit. Another thing that would help a lot is if emulation wasn't so frowned upon by companies.
Yeah, like, if I can emulate, for example, Pat's playing God of War on his PS5 right now.
Yeah.
If I can emulate God of War 1 on my PC and it runs at a stable frame rate like a normal game, even runs even better.
Yeah.
There's no reason for why I should not be able to do that on the home console.
I agree with that.
Right.
But even to an extent, like, even just the PC emulation shouldn't be as frowned upon as
Yeah.
it is, because it is the only way we're preserving these games at the moment. Like, having going on to, like, random ISO style websites to download ISO files for these games, which are basically just a copy of the disc but digital. It allows you to be able to play these games with certain emulators that run. It's definitely frowned upon by companies. They'll even fight you for legality of it. Even if you own a physical copy of that said game, they'll still fuss at you for it to some extent. But it's currently the best offense we have, or I guess defense we have at this point to keeping games preserved. And companies just don't want to do that, which I think is one of those things where it's like, if the game is so and so old, like say 15, 20 years old, there should be no problem with like emulating it. Downloading an ISO online and emulating it at that point, it should just be almost like a open source type thing.
It shouldn't even be a year thing. It should be like if it's been abandoned by the company. Like, for example, there's this game called The Movies, which is a sort of like the Sims inspired game made by Lionheart Games, people who made Fable. It's like a management game, movie tycoon game where you have like, you control the lives of movie stars and you make movies, and it was really good. It had a DLC and everything, expansion, really big PC game for the time. It's abandoned. It's the franchise is dead. It's gone. It's a relic of a time of mid 2000 PC gaming.
Right.
And the only way to get that game is through finding an ISO online.
Yeah.
Can't buy it digitally, or if you happen to have a computer that has a physical disk drive, maybe buy a physical copy.
Yeah.
If you can find one on eBay.
That's the issue. It's not
So
readily available.
and
by
then
the
and then if it
company
is on
anymore.
eBay, chances are some schmuck is selling it for crazy high. So, you have to go look for this ISO, and which is technically breaking the law.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. Well, no, it is absolutely at the
So,
moment. Yeah.
actually, another thing too, I just realized I forgot about this situation. I ran into an issue with trying to buy a game that was delisted by Steam a couple months ago.
Oh yeah.
There's this Lord of the Rings game called War in the North.
Yeah.
Made by Snowblind, I think, or some company that lost the license. Like they don't have the license is gone for that game. They don't own it anymore. So therefore, they could not sell it on Steam. So the only way I could get it is by buying a digital copy of it on the GameStop website,
Yeah.
getting a download token for Steam, putting it in the Steam store, and then downloading it.
Yeah.
So I couldn't buy it on Steam, but I still have it downloaded on Steam, which I feel like it's only one step away from them eventually being like, you can't access this game anymore.
Right.
So I also went out and bought a physical copy at Second and Charles. So for my 360, which I think Philly still own. But yeah, I think my roundabout answer here is still like we're talking about emulation needs to be. It shouldn't be like, oh, you're emulating my game.
Yeah.
Scum.
Don't want us emulating it. Make it readily available.
Like look
somehow.
at Pokemon. Probably the most emulated game in existence.
Yeah.
Like every
Oh, yeah,
single
for sure.
every single Pokemon game.
Oh yeah.
You can buy I recently just got a Samsung tablet, and you can just buy emulators on
Oh yeah. You can.
on
That's
tablets
neat.
and Android store and stuff like that.
See, there's a difference there with Pokemon being emulated because a lot of the emulation is so you can randomize it.
Well, it's also
And
just
do
to
certain
do it on your phone
things
because
with
there's no official Pokemon game on the phone.
Oh yeah.
So it's just people want to play Pokemon on their phone. You guys don't have phones?
It's a no-brainer, sadly. I mean, it was a handheld game originally. Why can't I keep having it in the most handheld thing we carry around on us every day?
Yeah. And you know what? It is kind of a no-brainer. I'm actually surprised that when Nintendo was trying to make mobile games, they weren't like, "Hey, GamePre, why don't you just make a Pokemon game for mobile?"
Yeah, you really would have thought that would have been the easiest,
Yeah, that's
dumb brain
just
like money
port a
maker.
game to the.
Yeah, they really could have just ported like some of the older Game Boy games and
Oh yeah.
made huge money.
Yeah, Nintendo
Do that.
importing games.
Or they can even port some of the older ones to Switch and make just as much money.
Yeah, they
You know what? They could also port to Switch. Twilight Princess, so I can finally fucking play it. I'm down
Yep,
bad.
and once again, there you go, another example. Unless you got a Wii, a Wii U, or
Yeah.
something with a physical copy, or a game. I forgot the game was also on GameCube. Unless you got that one of those consoles with a physical copy, there's no legal way to play the game
you can
right
always
now.
emulate it off GameCube, and there's even a mod for the emulation on GameCube to make it have HD textures. So, but that's illegal. So,
Yeah.
but I mean,
There's also another thing too, like in terms of like digital stuff. Like recent example, the God of War Collector's Edition, you can get, but it does not come with the physical game. It comes with a case, a steelbook case, but it comes with a digital code for the video game.
yeah,
That is stupid.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't understand why collector's editions are being like, "We'll give you the steelbook for the game, just not the actual game."
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is that gonna do?
And speaking of, actually, I'm not sure how much more we want
Yeah.
to talk about the preservation, but this also
This ties
sort of
into the
leads into the
next
pre-order bonus that I'll just kick off real quickly. So pre-orders. I think it's okay to pre-order a game. It's collector's edition. I think if you like if they're selling with the collector's edition, I think that should be fine.
See, so pre-orders and it can
Jumbo, present your argument.
pre-orders
Present.
dog shit. You should not buy a game before you can actually play it, due to if the game is dog shit. Like for big examples of this in recent times have been Cyberpunk, Fallout 76, No Man's Sky.
Well,
All three
At
of those
launch.
games continued to update themselves, and some of them are actually good now. But that doesn't validate you paying the company for it at its current state. I personally, on most occasions, don't buy a game until like a week or two, at most or at minimum, before actually like buying it, sitting down and playing it.
I definitely get that. it's definitely valid points there, and I agree with them. And if this was a couple years back, I probably would have been absolutely on board with this argument 100%. But I definitely have this weird mixed feeling where pre-ordering digital games, absolutely no. I will not do that. It's dumb. I don't care what the pre-order bonus is. It's there's no point. Once again, kind of into my argument of I don't actually own that game. Why would I pre-order it in the first place? But then you get games currently, like, and the reason I say this is because now, with physical games not being as accessible as they used to be, and a lot of companies are only printing so many physical copies nowadays, it's one of those things where if you don't pre-order your physical game, there's a good chance you ain't, especially with some of like the more niche titles, you're not getting that game physically. And that's why I, at the very least, will defend physical pre-orders to some extent. I think for like the bigger titles like Call of Duty or something at the moment, you still don't gotta pre-order that. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be available at the moment. But something like a JRPG or like I just picked up Live Alive yesterday. Granted, it was pretty beefed up by Nintendo with advertising and stuff, so I think it actually got a decent like day one purchase even with physical copies. But like I went in and GameStop only had enough physical copies for the people that pre-ordered. I was one of like the last 2 people to come pick it up out of like I think there was like 12 or something pre-orders from what I understood in our local GameStop. So they only had enough to cover for that. So if anybody wanted to come in day one or even like a couple days later to be like, hey, I'm kind of interested in this game, I want to check it out. Well, it's not here. Sorry. Gotta go find it somewhere else.
See, I can agree with that at some points. But I don't know. I think it's just so game studios now are just pumping out stuff and releasing it before it's actually done, and pre-ordering stuff like that is just validating them giving it to you not done. In my opinion,
yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I like I said in my part, it's just I think for more niche games that do get physical releases,
oh no, yeah,
absolutely pre-order those. If it's a major title like a Call of Duty or something, or I should say like a AAA generic title like Call of Duty or something, maybe don't pre-order that because that's whatever, it's going to be around. You know, they make so many mass copies of those, not a big deal. Your Maddens, your FIFAs, your Call of Duties, your Battlefields, there'll be copies of those to go around. But then I think like even certain AAA titles that are like still big deals, like God of War, Uncharted, Final Fantasy, that kind of stuff, I think to some extent I would justify pre-orders on those. If it's a franchise you love and already know you're going to play regardless, physical pre-order for that, sure, go for it. Especially something like Final Fantasy 16 at this point in time, where Square Enix has recently stated they're kind of going to start going away from physical copies of games. And they started that with the newest expansion of Final Fantasy 14, Endwalker. There was no way to get a physical copy. There was a collector's edition, but it still didn't come with a physical copy.
Yeah, I'm hoping Rebirth has at least a limited edition or a collector's edition again. And I'm hoping it has a nice sick-ass steelbook.
Yeah,
like Remake did.
That's usually the only time I pre-order something is if I'm getting like a collector's edition or like a deluxe.
Yeah, that's the only time I'm doing physical pre-orders now.
Yeah, and like things like early access. Like
Yeah.
I think that stuff is fine personally, but I don't personally like early access stuff because I would rather play a finished like product instead of seeing like a work in progress as I'm playing it. And then get to a gate and I have to stop because the game there's no more game left. And I have to wait for more game to come.
Dude, that was, what was that?
Out.
Secrets of Grindia?
Secrets of Grindia.
Yeah, I don't like.
We loved that game.
That game was fun.
It was
like
early access.
And then we were like, all right.
See, I like early access more than people releasing an unfinished game and then fixing it. Like Baldur's Gate
that's what they're
3.
doing. It's an unfinished game that they're fixing and adding content in.
Yeah, but instead of naming it early access,
they're just like, hey, the game's finished.
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe it wasn't as finished as we said it was.
Well, it's just like, you could joke that Cyberpunk was just early access if you bought it at launch.
Yeah, but they don't release it as early access
they don't say it
because people wouldn't pre-order a game that's not done.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So here's my thing about digital pre-orders. I've pre-ordered games digitally before.
Okay.
I did it for Ghost of Tsushima because just because I did. I knew I wasn't buying it physically. I knew I was buying the game regardless.
Right.
So I bought it, pre-downloaded it, played it on launch day.
Well, that was also during like the heft of COVID. At the
Yeah,
time,
and
too.
then I've also pre-ordered games and unlocked them early with early access.
I hate when games do that, dude. When games are like, you can play the game 3 days early if
Like
you pre-order it.
I just read here that Hogwarts Legacy is going to have 72 hour early access.
Oh no!
You know who's not doing that? Me.
I will.
And see, that's the worst part because that's a game I'm heavily looking forward to. I might consider it.
See,
I
here's
might
the thing.
consider that.
Cyberpunk. I don't know if any of you guys pre-ordered it,
No.
but we were all excited for it.
Did I pre-order it?
And then
I didn't buy it physically.
I know some people bought it day one,
I did.
and I thankfully did not. I was doing my 1 to 2 weeks period, and I never bought it because,
Oh, that might be a game you might want to check out now. I think it might be worth it.
I might check it out now.
Especially
but
with
it's
your new
been
rig.
years with it being out now, so we'll see.
Most games I buy nowadays are digital, and
Yeah.
I only usually buy physical games for the games that I know that like I'm going to play later on, and I like want to like Elden Ring. I bought that physically because I just love those FromSoft games.
You bought it physically. It wasn't going to be here in time, but luckily I bought it digitally, so you
Yeah.
could play it on time.
Yeah, exactly. And then God of War, I might buy that physically because I have the first. I had like a Ghost of
I don't.
Tsushima. I bought that digital because I know that like I'll replay it, but I know that like 10 years down the line, I don't know if I'll replay it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really worried about losing the game. I've got my hours in. I don't usually like replaying games unless I truly love the game.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about
What would
it.
be an example of that?
Replaying a game.
Replay because you love it so much.
God of War.
Other than Madden.
God of War, Dark Souls 3. I have that digitally.
That's cool.
Stuff like that.
I feel you.
Not to like kind of jump back to the old topic, but I just thought about that as you were listing off some of these games. How crazy would it be to think about the fact that in like 20, 40 years, like we were talking about earlier, a massive, huge, successful game like Elden Ring may not be available anymore.
Mm-hmm.
How crazy is that to think about?
Yeah, that's
Granted, I think it's one of those games where we'll see a re-release in like 5-10 years or something like that
And
for
you know-
whatever the next console.
And you know what's
is,
also
but-
Yeah.
crazy too about that is you look at games like we're sitting here right next to a Marvel and Capcom
arcade
cabinet.
machine, yeah.
Yeah, we're notorious franchise for licensing running out, and Capcom no longer having the rights for a while to sell the Marvel game. I don't know which one it was.
The biggest one was X-Men versus Street
Yeah,
Fighter.
they couldn't sell the title because they no longer had the rights.
Yeah, which
Marvel, no, they wouldn't let them sell it, and that happened to a lot of Marvel games because eventually, when you get these game companies, if Marvel gets a third-party developer to make their game, they're leasing their IP out to them, and eventually that lease runs up. And if the game didn't sell well, you have to stop selling that game digitally.
right, yeah.
So
There, you
that's
can't
that's
download,
another bit like.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 anymore
Yeah,
on
like,
consoles.
It's never going to happen, but if for some reason Sony and Marvel had a falling out and they were like, you can no longer sell Spider-Man, they have the power to do that. That's their IP.
True, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
So you can no longer digitally sell Spider-Man. Just think about how crazy that would be.
And then eventually Wolverine, which will
Yeah,
be coming out too.
You can no longer sell this game. That would never happen. That's such a big deal.
Yeah.
If Spider-Man came out and tanked, maybe. We kind of saw something almost like that happen with EA and Star Wars.
Oh yeah, they almost lost the rights.
Well, they did.
They did.
They can't make exclusive games anymore.
Oh yeah, they can't. Yeah.
They were like, you can keep making Star Wars games, but we're giving it to everybody else because you keep dropping the ball. And the time that they had the license, they made one solid, good game, in my opinion. That's Fallen Order.
And that was right out.
And that was at the end. That was the
right
last.
before they
Yeah,
lost
that
it,
was the
yeah.
last one. I mean, you can argue that Battlefront 2 was good by the end, but it wasn't when it launched, and nor was the first Battlefront that DICE made.
Yeah, true.
So these, and like I said, Lord of the Rings, they lost the rights to it. They can no longer sell it digitally.
Yeah.
So these IP games are also at risk for digital copies.
Yeah, it just goes to show that once again, there's got to be something done by game companies at this point to preserve certain games. Like, and it sucks to say that.
Preserve them by pre-ordering them.
No.
I don't think that's the answer. As much as I do like, once again, I do vouch for physical pre-orders. I still don't think that's the fix here.
We just heard from Pat that he physically pre-ordered something and he didn't even get it day one.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's the stuff you gotta worry about too. Like I
That's
got
why-
it like Monday, and the game came out like Friday.
When
that Friday.
when Remake was coming out for Final Fantasy VII, I was contemplating buying a whole other copy of the game so I could play it on time. I was like, Amazon is not going to shackle me from playing this game.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest.
And
issue
that's just
with
because I'm
those.
just an impatient person when it comes to games. Like I want to play them now. I don't want to have to wait. I don't want to fall behind the curve on everybody else playing it.
Yeah, I'm gonna
like,
catch hella FOMO if I have to
Yeah,
wait 3
yeah.
days.
I do
for
not
a
want to deal
game.
with the FOMO.
Right, and I think that's the biggest issue with that is that's something that Zach brought up when we were talking to him a little bit about this topic earlier. He said, "Well, if you can't get it from like Games House, just order it over Amazon." But once again, at that point, there's the chance you're risking it shipping out late
It's
or not
also
getting here
still
on time.
the same deal. There's no guarantee that Amazon's gonna have I mean, they're gonna have more copies than GameStop,
Yeah,
our local GameStop, but there's no guarantee that you're gonna get there and they'll be like, oh,
yeah, exactly. Like they could eventually sell out because
Yeah.
once again, companies are making less and less physical
Yeah.
games.
it doesn't come down to the distributors. It comes down to the producers, people that are making the game, and if they're not making enough copies, then there's only so much to sell.
So I know we talked about it here a little bit with like the early access and pre-orders here. There was something else we were trying to talk about earlier that went in with this. I forget. It was versus early access and
It was early access for something.
early access versus open
thought-
beta. I think something like that.
I'll just maybe it's just something to do with early access. I don't see a problem with early access games as long as you're buying into the product and as long as obviously they're telling you this game isn't finished, it will be. You can buy it now to play what we have. As long as you're just going in being like, okay, this is early access, it's gonna get better. As long as the dev is actively working on it, the game is getting updates. I see no
Yeah.
cool.
I've sadly been burned by a couple early access games where I thought I was really gonna like them, and then like
I've picked some pretty good ones like Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord launched in early access.
Sadly that was also a sequel, so that was the
Yeah,
you
so
want to know you're
yeah,
like
and it's still in early access. I think.
Is it really?
Yeah, but it's in that stage in early access where the game is playable. You can play everything you want to do with the game. The modding tools are out. It's being modded. It's pretty much done. It's just they're still updating it regularly. Baldur's
Okay.
Gate, that's still in early access.
I'm looking forward to that full release.
So,
Wasn't PUBG in early access for years and years and years?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, DayZ was in early access for years.
Yeah, no, PUBG was
No,
for a
it's
while
not-
as
no,
well. Fortnite was
We
for a
put
little
lot of
while.
hours into PUBG.
Paragon
Paragon, which never left early access, it
Yep.
died.
died in early access.
Was it still technically early access?
It was open beta. Yep.
Was it?
It was open beta when it died. They were in open beta for like 2 years.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
I thought it was launched.
Nope.
Uh,
There's ever an official launch because they wanted to get a certain number of characters before they called it an official launch, which
Yeah.
they never made it. They were
Damn,
almost
the roster
there.
was pretty big.
Yeah, I think they were aiming for like 50 characters or something before they went there, and I think they ended on like 42.
I
or
feel
something.
like that's an unrealistic number for a 3D MOBA.
Probably.
I mean,
but-
Smite has a lot of characters though,
Yeah.
but it's also a completely different art style. It probably takes less to make a Smite hero than it would to make a Paragon hero,
Probably.
like rendering and all that stuff. So
Yeah. I think that's about what I wanted to talk about with the game preservation, and we also went right into the validating
yeah, the
pre-orders.
validating pre-orders.
Do we want to talk about Hall H?
Well, yeah, what's the runtime? Where we at?
Just over an hour.
So now, yeah, we got time to talk
Yeah, we
about
got time
that.
to
So, for those who don't know, as always, we record on Saturdays, and this weekend is the return of San Diego Comic-Con after an absence of, COVID procedures, it not being the same. Marvel Studios, so the MCU, has returned to Hall H this afternoon, 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. EST. To announce hopefully the next future of the MCU. So we're talking Phase 5 or whatever leftover shows or whatever they have for Phase 4. So I brought it up during our pre-record lunch. This was talk about our predictions and what we hope to see. And we probably talk about how we feel about the MCU post-Endgame. Because I don't know about you guys, but the post-Endgame slump hits. It's
hits hard.
We're certainly in a slump.
I think we've had a few good movies and a few good shows, but nothing is really connecting, and you can really feel it.
Yeah.
There's no like sense of direction at all. Like
The
everything just feels out of place.
Yeah, I think the only true piece of media that's come out of Phase 4 currently is No Way Home.
Yeah, No Way Home was good.
That's the only piece of media that I feel truly feels like something pre-Endgame because of how special they made that film.
I disagree a little bit. Shang-Chi was really good.
Shang-Chi was really good.
Man, I have not seen that yet.
It's
It's
good. I think
really
I think
I
you would like
think
it.
it's my favorite Phase 4, or well, not counting No Way
Not,
Home. 'cause
not
Yeah.
counting No Way Home.
that's probably my favorite Phase 4
Yeah.
movie.
I don't count No Way Home when I talk about my favorite Phase 4 movie, or when I talk about Phase 4 in general, because it's just so biased. I would always put that above everything because Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are in it.
It's like Endgame. Like I would also say Endgame.
Like, I would never rank that with anything else. So yeah, like Jim Bob said, Shang-Chi, great. I guess more of a controversial pick is I really like the Eternals.
Yeah,
I thought
don't hate
and the
Eternals. I
ensemble
liked
was
it.
big. We knew going in all these characters wouldn't get development they needed.
It
But
was big, but I
yeah.
felt like all the characters.
Yeah, I
had
felt
a
like by
pretty
the
good amount
end-
of,
It grew on me.
yeah, by the end, I was like, I want to see more of this storyline. I want to see more of these characters. Spoiler alert: I'm kind of upset they killed off Richard Madden as Icarus. I hope he comes back
yeah, when he just
when Icarus
Flies
truly
into
flies
the-
into the sun. I was
Jeez.
just like, that's a little on the nose, but okay. Also-
Thor 4 sucked.
I'm
Love
an
and
enjoyer
Thunder,
of Thor
Blue Chunks. That movie.
I'm an
bad.
enjoyer of shitty movies. Turn your brain off Marvel movies, so I enjoyed it.
Look, I love Turn Your Brain Off movies. I just watched one on Netflix called The Gray Man. Get a little plug in there. Check it out. Ryan Gosling, Russo brothers, action, spy.
Chris Evans.
Yeah, Chris Evans has a mustache. He plays a douche. Yeah, he's pretty funny though. My brain had to be removed from my skull if I wanted to enjoy Love and Thunder. So
You say that, but there is a few good
There is-
gags that you enjoyed.
there is only one gag that I think will stick with me, and it's the hammer gag.
Yeah, the hammer and the axe gag.
What is it? Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
Just hovering in the frame every time Thor would talk about Mjolnir. That was the only gag that I think really landed. So, but yeah. So
I think the main problem with Phase 4 is just nothing connecting. Like no one's talked about the Celestials that showed up during Eternals.
yeah.
Um,
No one's talking about. I feel like
everything. All
they're
most
like-
of the shows are happening in New York,
yeah.
and nothing.
They're like, all right, the multiverse is here.
It's done.
It's gone. It's like the only person who's dealing with the multiverse is Doctor Strange, which I guess makes sense. But even then, it's like there was literally a portal opened above the Statue of Liberty in New York, and no one is talking about this. No one is talking about the Celestials, like Jim Bob said, and not even like a mention of the terrorist attacks that are happening in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah,
And it's like,
Hawkeye and Miss Marvel are happening in New York City.
yeah, nothing is related to them. No shows even
Oh, yeah.
meant nothing is tied into Hawkeye. So it's like, okay, I understand everything is going to be connected. And in Kevin Feige we trust ultimately at the end of the day. But it's like right now I just feel like we're in this big filler arc. Like, okay, we're setting things back up.
And that's all Phase 4 I feel is going.
Yeah,
to.
and then we're getting hit with these mediocre, bad paced shows like Moon Knight. Not that it was a mediocre show, but it was just really badly paced.
Miss
Miss
Marvel's
Marvel,
first 4 episodes were
bad.
bad.
Yeah,
The last 2 were really good, in my opinion.
and honestly, just the projects that we have, it's like, okay, look, in hindsight, they're pretty enjoyable for the most part. But the stuff that's in the pipeline, I'm way more excited for, like Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever.
Fantastic Four.
That's going to have Namor, and that's talking about the predictions. We're probably going to get the Wakanda Forever trailer tonight. Hopefully they release it to the public, but they're definitely seeing it at Hall H. So that means we're finally going to see Namor in live action. That's pretty hype. And then we got Blade in the pipeline, which I cannot wait for. Not to spoil it for Pat because he's not caught up on Miss Marvel. Oddly enough, the ending to that kind of has me like an eyebrow raise for the Marvels.
Yeah.
Like,
I have no idea. Anything
I don't know anything
any
about
of the
it.
characters.
Yeah.
Haven't seen Captain Marvel, the movie itself.
well,
either,
that's bad.
personally.
So,
What's better, Captain Marvel or Thor 4?
give me a second.
Not seeing Captain Marvel. Thor 4.
I'm gonna say Thor 4 because
I
at least
agree.
Thor 4 had gore,
Yeah.
and gore of the God Butcher, not gore as in like blood and guts and people getting their
Yeah, I was gonna say.
balls ripped off.
I see.
Fan-
I'm disappointed.
Yeah,
4 or what the hell was I saying?
Thor.
Fantastic Four.
Thor,
Too many fours thrown around.
Thor 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fantastic Four in the pipeline, with rumors of Steven Spielberg directing.
That's weird.
Yeah, like okay. Yeah, and then the guy that plays Steve Harrington is rumored to be playing Johnny Storm.
That'd be
So-
kinda
Sounds
dope.
so good.
So that sounds too good to be true. And just like so like the big rumor for Blade is that Kit Harington's coming back as the Ebony Knight, and Anthony Starr, aka Homelander, is going to be playing Dracula for the villain. And it's just like, this sounds too good to be true.
It sounds like fan.
You
Yeah.
see, I would
mock-ups.
love that. I would love for him to be in the MCU, but I wouldn't really like want him to not be like a recurring character.
I mean, as Dracula, he could be. It just depends on how they write him.
Why have Dracula when you could have Morbius?
Morbius,
Yeah, we already
Morbius
have
drinking a
Morbius.
40s.
Oh my god.
So yeah, the end for the prediction thing here. Maybe let's just go down the line and see what people's predictions are, or whether they just want to see the MCU go. Ooh, they just actually, what I'm thinking about, they just filed a bunch of trademarks for upcoming things. So like Captain America, they filed Captain America: New World Order, presumably Captain America 4, Avengers: Kang Dynasty. Obviously, Kang has been heavily rumored / implied to be the big bad for the next phase or two. He's going to be the villain of Quantumania, which is Ant-Man 3. And then the second one was Avengers Secret Wars, got trademarked.
Well,
Yeah.
and everyone's been
Everyone
seeing that coming.
everyone wants Secret Wars. I think it might be too early for Secret Wars because we haven't even had an X-Men movie yet or a Fantastic Four movie.
Oh,
So
yeah,
granted,
totally.
this is just a trademark, so there's no guarantee it's even going to happen or how far away it is. But it's just like, okay, so there's a bunch of these Avengers trademarks. Where are the X-Men trademarks?
Yeah.
So
We'll see.
I think that's like the I feel like you were gonna say that.
yeah,
so let me say
my prediction is I really hope there's something mutant related
it.
tonight.
Yeah.
And if not here, I hope it's at D23 later this year, or early next year. I think it's D23, but
I mean, with Miss Marvel just ending, I feel like the X-Men reveal.
it's on the hype of the end of Miss Marvel, so it's a possibility. And also just Blade, any type of Blade news I'll take.
I would like to see some Fantastic Four casting
Mhm.
announcements.
Mhm.
Maybe a Doctor Doom cast.
Mhm. I'm just ready for Feige to lay it out. I love
Yeah.
the way he presents the phases. Like he's such a good like presenter of like I don't know the MCU. So I can't wait to see the shot that they always do of the shitty cell phone footage of some dude just looking up like a peasant at the screen.
Oh, at the timeline.
Yeah, at the
of same
timeline, and
phase
everyone's popping off, and I can't wait to see all the leaked videos. Like, I'll never forget when the Infinity War trailer got leaked from Hall H, and it was like the most shitty. Like, this dude had like a Google Hangout phone pixel, like,
Yeah.
and he was just like hanging. Like, there was like 2 pixels of the trailer on the screen, and he was hiding the phone because you can't record in Hall H, and he's just like ducking all the security to get the trailer out, and the experience of watching that leaked trailer outside of work with one of our friends was so good. But yeah, I don't know. Jump out prediction for MCU.
My prediction is Morbius 2 and Morbius 3 are going to be announced.
2 and 3.
No, but
And 2 and 3.
but the direct sequels to Morbius that wasn't in the MCU, but now these 2 are in the MCU.
Oh yeah.
Morbius is the big bad of
It's the
Phase
summer of
5.
Morbius. The summer
It's
of
the
Morbius.
century of Morbius.
Yeah, it's the century of Morbius. Pat, what are you hoping to see?
That's pretty much what I said earlier.
Oh,
Oh,
The
you did.
Fantastic
I
Four.
forgot. You did say that. Yep,
Yeah,
you did.
yeah.
Eric,
I think we could get a wild card one that no one expects, like that hasn't been
whole-
leaked.
like a whole new
new
movie.
movie. Something I have no idea what it could be.
oh, we might
but
see Thunderbolt stuff here tonight.
Ooh,
Yeah.
we could see some like Squirrel Girl.
Yo,
No.
Squirrel.
a Squirrel Girl
Hey,
TV
yo.
show, Disney Plus show. I feel like
No
probably.
movie.
Maybe.
It's gonna be a movie.
What
The
is it?
Squirrel Girl movie. She deserves it.
Yeah, come on.
Jim Bob the game.
If I had to make a prediction, maybe not tonight, but what I think is coming up for Marvel at some point, there's been a hell of a lot of rumors that we'll eventually be getting Andrew Garfield doing something Spider-Man again.
I would love to see him in the Sony universe, Marvel.
Yeah, a lot of
Spider-Man
people
movie.
think.
Someone's got it going on over there.
Yeah, about to say, I think a dope concept for a third, like if they even just want to do a third Amazing Spider-Man to finally give him his trilogy finisher, have it, especially since he's already experienced the multiverse now.
Oh yeah,
Have it be him.
post multiverse. Yeah.
Post that, but he wouldn't remember probably the events. I don't know if he would or not.
No, you'd be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
he would. Yeah.
People know Morbius remembered. So.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
But then have him encounter Spider-Gwen or Ghost Spider,
Yeah.
they call her now, and
Yeah.
having to deal with the fact that there is a Gwen still out there,
Yeah.
but it's not the one he
Ooh,
initially,
Well, yeah, I'm
like,
sure you've probably seen
fell for.
the comic panel of the Spider-Man talking to Spider-Gwen,
Yeah.
and he's like, I failed my Gwen, and she's like, I failed my Peter.
Yeah.
Because she loses Peter Parker in her universe.
Yeah, it'd be a very interesting movie to kind of like cope with a lot of like unresolved feelings
Yeah.
from the ending of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And while also introducing Spider-Gwen into the actual like live action universe,
Which is
you
what
know.
they were gonna go for. That was one of the leaked Sony movies. During the big Sony leak was a Spider-Gwen movie. And that was an option they were pursuing before Marvel was like, or...
Yeah.
Kevin Feige was like, how about I just assess?
But I think that's somewhere down the pipeline.
Yeah, I would love to see more Andrew Garfield. I still think he... Besides Tobey Maguire as just being nostalgic, probably a bigger fan. If I had to rank them, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland.
That's fair.
That's crazy.
And that's from best to worst.
You're crazy.
Not saying Tom Holland's bad. He's finally where I think he needs to be. At least for me to enjoy him as Spider-Man. At the end of No Way Home.
Yeah, I think the end of No Way Home set up for a really good
'Cause
future for him.
Personally, I'm just done with the inexperienced Spider-Man. After playing the Insomniac Spider-Man games, it made me realize, it made me realize, like, man, I just really don't care for the bumbling, rookie, new on the job Spider-Man. I just don't really care about that anymore.
Yeah, Spider-Man's always been at his peak when he's like been around for a while,
Yeah.
established, and he's able to do whatever he wants. You
Right.
know, like he's good at it.
Yeah. So I think we're finally at that point. Not to mention the suit at the end of No Way Home was fucking fire. So, yeah. That's
I
my
agree with
take.
you.
That's my take on Spider-Man.
Where do you think Spider-Man in the MCU is gonna go though? Do you think they're gonna go the route with like him getting a team, or
Well, I mean, with the unfortunate reality is with Marvel and Sony, you just never really know if there's I mean, there's gonna be more, but it's just like, what does that look like? Are they going to, is he going to be more? I would love to see him team up with Daredevil, live action. They've already kind of sown the seeds in No Way Home. I would love to see him go with Blade. I want to see him start teaming up with these odd pairings that he are good in the comics. Like, we know Deadpool 3 is coming. If we can get Deadpool and Spider-Man on screen together, it's going to be amazing.
I saw a comic panel recently that somebody posted after the end of No Way Home, where it was actually canon in the comics where something like that happens, where everybody forgets Spidey is Peter Parker. But he ends up meeting up with Hulk, and Hulk calls him Peter, and he's like, wait, you shouldn't remember. How do you remember? He's like, Banner forgot who you are. Hulk never forgets. And I was
Hulk
like,
is a gamer.
I would love to see that in the MCU if they ever do that again, where the Hulk still knows that Spidey is Peter, and he's like, I remember you, buddy. It's all good.
I could see if Deadpool did know, he would also still know because with his fourth wall breaking. So.
Yeah,
I could see that. I also think Spider-Man is a really good plug and play hero in stories. I feel like 'cause he has really good chemistry with all the Fantastic Four. He has really good chemistry with the majority of the X-Men, especially Wolverine. That's another good team up. However, they probably, for the love of God, do not have Wolverine be in the X-Men movies. As much as I love Wolverine, and I love Hugh Jackman. It won't be Hugh Jackman anyway, but it's time to let the other X-Men have their time. Like, once Wolverine got hit the scene in X-Men with Hugh Jackman, it became Wolverine and the X-Men, which is cool for a while. But you get people are shelving Cyclops, who's technically the leader of the team,
Yeah.
And who is a good superhero in his own right.
We need more Nightcrawler.
We need more Nightcrawler. We need better Jean Grey. Just fundamentally better. We need more Colossus.
We need Gambit.
But not Channing Tatum.
I think either way, whatever. I want Gambit. I've always loved Gambit ever since I was
Gambit's
young.
a cool
He's
mutant.
dope.
He's really sick.
And now that, I think I pitched this to you guys a couple weeks ago because I was trying to think of who my perfect casting is. Now that he's out of all these allegations and everything's back on the table with him. I think Johnny Depp could make a really good Gambit.
Like an old Gambit.
Yeah, like an old man. Yeah, I think he would make a dope Gambit.
That would have been an
sick.
amazing casting for maybe 20 years ago with a young Johnny Depp. It's still good now, but if they would have called him in the prime,
Yeah, absolutely.
whoa, that would have been really
But
good.
I still think he's my prime candidate for who I would want to see Gambit be right now. I don't think there's anybody else I could personally think of that I would prefer.
I mean,
to have
honestly,
Gambit right
I'm
now.
trying to think of how Gambit looks like in the animated cartoon. The 97. Honestly, I could see Johnny Depp rocking that.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
with the fucking black collar coming up to the cheeks, and then the purple eyes, and the that really long Louisiana draw.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
man.
could pull it off.
Yeah, he could do it.
that's Sick. I'm in.
Yeah, I was about to say. Ever
Yeah,
since
I'm
I
in.
thought about
Eric,
that a couple
make it
weeks
happen.
ago.
Yeah, I'm in.
Make it happen.
I'll do my best.
Yep.
But yeah, ever since I
Speak
thought
it
about that a
into
couple weeks
existence.
ago, I can't see anybody else being Gambit that I would ever want right now. And there's a lot of good actors out there right
Yeah.
now, so I'm like, I feel like someone else could do it, but I would still be slightly disappointed it's not Johnny Depp at this point. Pat, you look like you were about to say something.
I will say
No, I wasn't gonna
Pat
say
was
anything.
going into the mic.
I was
Johnny
there was
Depp
fuzz
is,
on my mic. I was screaming.
Johnny Depp is featuring in Jim Bob the Game.
Oh,
is,
sick.
is he?
Gotta say, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I didn't want to reveal it, but you got it out of me.
Who does he play?
Himself. He is just friends with Jim Bob in the game.
Oh.
So.
Is
Nice.
one of the levels in Jim Bob the Game the Amber Heard and Depp trial?
Oh yeah, I'm just in the audience, just screaming.
Johnny, we love you. Just-
Fuck you, Amber.
Amber Turd.
Amber Turd! Amber Turd!
Oh my
Jeez.
god.
That was a pretty thick discussion we've had, multiple topics.
Yeah, I
Dang,
think
that's
this
that's
was-
that's key for Pat trying to wrap it up.
No, I'm fine.
You can always feel when Pat's looking. He hits you with the
Hmm.
all right, or he hits you with the well. That was a pretty good discussion. It's either one of the two options.
I mean, to be fair, I
We-
agree with Pat. I think
We
we've talked quite a bit.
We cleared the board. We hit the Hall H side objective.
That was absolutely a side quest on this. We weren't
Yeah.
sure if we were going to get to that.
There's no bold prediction this week. I can't think of one. And I'm
Just
still-
bold predict something for
Bold
Hall H.
prediction.
bold prediction for Hall H. We're gonna get the full Phase 5 layout, and it's gonna end with an Avengers movie. That's my.
It's gonna be called Avengers.
It's gonna be Avengers Kang Dynasty at the end. That's my bold prediction.
Okay, there you go. We got a bold prediction. The only other thing we were missing from this week was a news flash, but once again, there really wasn't a lot of big.
Newsflash:
hit it with
there is no
Ubisoft,
news.
so-
Newsflash: Jim Bob's not wearing pants.
Oh, hell yeah.
Newsflash, I'm never wearing pants. So
Hold on.
The news flash will return when there's stuff
When there's
to talk
pants.
about.
but
Can there not be pants?
Please wear pants. Pants are required during the Arclight podcast.
Well,
I'm not
okay.
wearing it
For-
right now.
Well, for the people talking, for the people listening, you can wear whatever you want.
That seems a little
disagree.
unfair.
Yeah, I disagree.
Disagree.
I'm not allowed to wear pants, but they need to wear pants. Yeah.
Huh.
Hmm.
So we'll wrap it up, and thank you for all of you for listening. Always hit our the like button on YouTube, or you can message us on our email.
The email being arclightbrigade@gmail.com. And per our good buddy Zane, I think I will eventually be making us a Twitter account just for the Arclight podcast.
And you should do that before posting this.
Probably a good idea, yeah. Actually, so yeah, no, I'll be making that.
Oh yeah, we're
tonight.
also gonna be taking headshots, so Jim Bob has more content to
Make
lather our
pictures.
faces over our
Yeah.
thumbnails.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be a fun experience. Yeah, we're going to hopefully making a couple minor changes here that just improve quality of life.
What's the what? Yeah, we'll discuss it after the podcast.
Yeah. I think I have a good idea for what the
What I'll
thumbnail should be.
say, stay gaming.
Stay
Stay
gaming.
gaming.